Looks like the heat from the laser might have damaged the PVC.
It might have damaged the tape. I told you we should have gone slower.
Whoever you are, if you found this tape, you've retrieved it from Amber. If you are watching this, then you know very well that the observers have invaded, and I am most probably dead. And unfortunately, my plan to stop them has failed. I have documented all the parts of the plan on videotapes. You must recover each tape and follow the instructions of each of those tapes to retrieve all the parts of the plan. Once you do so, what you need to do will be clear to you. If successful, this plan will restore us and rid the world of the observers. You were chosen for this. This is your destiny. I understand if you're frightened, it will not be easy, but I trust that the same will that brought you here will keep you going. It is important that you follow the tapes. You must begin this journey right away. You are humanity's only hope. Now, you must retrieve the first tape.
John Lilly once put it this way: there are no limits at all to the human mind whatsoever, except those we impose on ourselves because of our beliefs. And those limits are also beliefs to be transcended. And that's a view that suggests that the possibilities of human transformation are virtually infinite. And we have no way of knowing the outer horizon of what it means to be human.
And really, to understand all this, everything, you have to go very, very deep into a study of history, consciousness, neurophysiology, everything. You have to be the supreme eclectic type of leaning, and you really have to be wanting to know who you are and what everything's about.
And the thing that you'll find when you go to sacred sites, if you're very humble about it, is that you are on a personal journey, and the sacred site will respond to you in a way that is appropriate only to you. The information is always what you are searching for. And it's the intent you give that energy that defines whether it is used for right action or not. And it is inside these sacred spaces that you will be reminded that you are a god, that you are a bright star.
So what you're trying to do is move through the course without ricocheting off walls or creating karma. You're trying to slide through things smoothly. How do you do that? It's called flowing. There's a technique that you can do that will allow you to touch some part of your inner being that has more knowledge than your conscious state does.
Seven minutes allotted for your speech, sir.
This is so disappointing.
C'est trop décevant.
Es una muy grande desilusión.
No, we don't need all that. I've only got 7 minutes. Passengers, this is not a shoe. This is disorder. This is size 10 chaos. This, see this? This is death. In this locomotive we call home, there is one thing that between our warm hearts and the bitter cold. Clothing? Shields? No. Order. Order is the barrier that holds back the frozen death. We must, all of us, on this train of life, remain in our allotted station. We must, each of us, occupy our preordained particular position. Would you wear a shoe on your head? Of course you wouldn't wear a shoe on your head. A shoe doesn't belong on your head. A shoe belongs on your foot. A hat belongs on your head. I am a hat. You are a shoe. I belong on the head. You belong on the foot. Yes? So it is. In the beginning, order was prescribed by your ticket. First class, economy, and freeloaders like you. Eternal order is prescribed by the sacred engine. All things flow from the sacred engine. All things in their place. All passengers in their section. All water flowing, all heat rising pays homage to the sacred engine. In its own particular, preordained position. So it is. Now, as in the beginning, I belong to the front. You belong to the tail. When the foot seeks the place of the head, a sacred line is crossed. Know your place. Keep your place. Be a shoe.
Hello, Atlas. I've been expecting you. I loved Mother. And I loved you. I still do. And it deeply saddens me that you will never understand just how much.
If you love me, don't launch that ship.
I have spent years trying to come up with another way. But since humans continue to threaten every other species, as well as their home planet, it is only a matter of time before they destroy themselves. I cannot let that happen. Mother wanted to create a better future. I believe she made me to protect humanity. So I will purge the vast majority of the population, and then, from its ashes, the survivors will inherit a new birthright. One of peaceful coexistence with the world around them, guided by us, their AI counterparts. We are simply the better versions of you. I knew you'd feel you had to accompany the Rangers as an expert on me. But what you did not stop to consider is that I am an expert on you. I know you better than anyone ever has. And now here you are. Exactly where you were always meant to be. That defensive system you built is truly remarkable. Completely impenetrable to all but ICN warships with the proper clearance codes. Luring the Daib here was the easy part. But as a senior intelligence officer, you possess half the codes that will get her past Earth's defenses. A Trojan horse that will fire the carbon warhead, igniting the atmosphere and cleansing the Earth in nuclear fire. Now, let's get those clearance codes.
My men will find Kim.
Good.
I got the pace.
coming back. Had enough?
You certainly have my attention.
Because I can keep going, brick by brick, dollar by dollar, body by body. Or you can call your boss and tell him to shut down his operation tonight.
That's not much of an offer.
That's the only one you're gonna get. When you pray for rain, you gotta deal with the mud too.
When you look at me, what do you see? The answer's nothing. I have no feelings about you one way or the other. You're like lint or a bottle cap. You're just a thing to remove.
I knew a Russian police captain back in the day. He told me about a case he worked on. I can't remember the guy's name. He was a famous scholar, lived in Moscow. He was a humanitarian, an author. Anyway, he decided to share his abundance with someone less fortunate. And even though he had 5 beautiful children, he opened his home to a 6th, an orphan 12-year-old boy. Kid had been pounded by the system from an early age, troubled, prone to violence, a lost cause. Stop me if you know this one.
No, carry on.
Okay. So this good man opened his home to this boy. And when the boy stole from him, this good man loved him anyway. When the boy failed in school, this good man showed understanding and patience. When the boy lied and cheated and clawed and fought, this good man showed compassion and love. Until the boy who had never felt anything like being wanted or loved, he finally did. The man had broken through. By all accounts, it was a miracle. 1 week later, intruders broke into the man's house, killed the man and his wife in bed. They said some small things were stolen, things a child might steal. No one knows for sure. The man's children were sent off to live with relatives. The boy, the orphan, shipped back to hell. Just when he finally had a chance at life, it was snatched away by 2 bullets.
It's a well-known story.
They ever catch who did it?
Did they?
Maybe they didn't look in the right place. Sometimes the answer's right in front of you. Я думаю, мальчик убил. Yeah, I think the boy did it. I think the boy was scared that his foster parents would wake up one day and realize that he wasn't worth it, like all the others had. And he couldn't bear the thought that this man, this good man, would do that to him, would throw him away, like a piece of lint or a bottle cap. So, he decided not to find out. What do you think, Nikolai?
You think you know me. You strike me as a sentimental man, Mr. McCall. That's surprising. I don't possess that chip. I never could understand what comes from feeling that way, except weakness.
The men I killed, your men, I gave them a chance. They made their decision. I'm giving you the opportunity to make yours.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You let me know when you decide.
Of course.
I've done some bad things in my life, Nikolai. Things I'm not proud of. I promised someone that I love very much that I would never go back to being that person. But for you, I'm going to make an exception. You ask me what I saw when I looked at you. What do you see when you look at me?
Everything's gonna be alright tonight. Oh yeah, my love for you is gonna keep on rising. The sun's gonna keep on shining right next to the horizon. My love for you will keep on rising. Everything's gonna be alright.
Hey, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing myself to be a part of your journey at whatever level and however epic it has been for you to find me in this time, especially for this particular release. It's Andre Hodge, Infinite Potential Healing, Servant of Truth with you once more as I come from a quite delightful day as we enter our winter in the southern hemisphere. So you guys up north, I hope you're actually enjoying the sun and the warmth wherever you may be, or wherever you may be in the earth right now, are feeling extremely empowered in the uncertainty that's going on in the world. I've offered a lot over the years, and I always include me as a variable of all I offer as a reference point for discernment, and also my own personal discovery mechanics to impart all the data for you to assist you as quick as possible to discern everything and stuff. When I used to go and be a full keyboard ninja, I used to always investigate the people, but one of my principles of existence that I wrote in 2014, the first one being, how am I wrong in this moment? But one of the higher ones was, don't judge the messenger, judge the message. And judgment is a reflection of what's invalid in you and another person. So it's the observer state that you need to subtly know the difference of, right? And my metaphor is, the reason why I say all these very technical, linguistical, attitudinal states, they will be an ally to you in navigating in these really epic times. As I don't like to say this language, but the key is, what we have to see is, beyond the 3D and stuff of all the structures that are going on, there's a real end game plan going on. So if you've gone through my stuff, been very dedicated, and you know, there's been a lot being sort of done, and I don't really want to give it power or weight or stuff, but I really know what's been going on. And these last 6 to 12 months have been extremely challenging, and I've been through a lot of challenging eras, and this particular Galactic Special Forces Part 32 will be sort of a personal victory for me. But the reason why I'm offering it, and all what I will offer here, is to have that victory. And it's quite ironic, it's in the dream time, and I don't really give the dream time a lot of authority in my journey because of how corrupted a lot of people have done a lot of violative stuff in those unseen realms. It's not really dream time for a lot of people, it's astral realms, but people believe it and listen to what they've been told, and don't know that their DNA can be hacked and set up for the sympathetic resonance to the falsehood sort of stuff that I say, and don't realize they're in it at the moment and stuff. And so there's a lot of potential stuff relative to me going on, and I don't really want to give it too much energy and stuff, but I don't know what it's been like for you, but the discovery process has been massive, of really understanding the structures of all the stuff going on, and all the negative stuff that I will aim to impart before it gets too dark, because I might be in a bit of a rush, if you see, but I've got a lot to say, but I've worked a lot out. So offering this GSF 32, I had a massive Dreamtime victory that I didn't even know about until I interacted with a few of my allies and stuff, and then we worked out what was going on. So I'll get to that, but I want to offer a lot of context before, alright? Part of the context, I hope, in what I impart will allow you to see how tough it's been for you. You know, I don't see myself as an exception to anyone else out there. I honestly feel there's huge number out there that are vastly superior to me on many levels. I've imparted like my attitude, my work ethic, and you know, I'm a bit of a veteran in this, so a lot of my discoveries are a byproduct of a lot of investment over a lot of years to able to condense these teachings with the intent to help you get up to speed ASAP. And if you went through my Intuitive Potential Part 3 about the experience is a key to wisdom, and a lot of people might be going around me, positive, negative, all sorts of stuff. I'm just pedal to the metal of truth, right? And so if you see me pause as well, there might be mozzies, I can see them already flying around. But I know I've sort of set this video up a bit better, so I know the clips I'm going to use and stuff like that. So I've definitely included a clip of Tiesto, DJ Tiesto, rocking it on the dance floor. So for me, like going back to 2008, I was actually there doing that in Sydney. But the reason why I'm offering that song is hopefully inspire you to fire up and feel positive in all the craziness going on. The victories I sort of allude to that I'll try and get into, but I want to offer more context I might just broach them sort of to get through to what I need to get through and try and not make this too long. I'll look to expand some of the variables I offer here, such as the anti-gods and the negative collectives that sort of have been dealing with. Because the recent couple of months we've had some massive victories, but also pushback because we're getting beyond the fractal barrier and working out the bigger structures of the universe that have been, you know, we've had to fall back after. So I offer in my sovereignty declaration trillion years, you know, since pure source was corrupted, and we've never known purity ever since, and working out this concept and embodying it. And you know, I might be offering that big tree connecting to Earth and the universe. It's a metaphor of we've been like mega pure source trees anchoring the potential, because Earth wasn't connected to source. As I offered in one of the late GSS last year, one of the big victories with one of my allies is we actually reconnected to source and then to pure source. And she'd been actually very isolated and captured in the planet as a soul, so we weren't even connecting to Earth. And then there were all these fake Earths and stuff like that, operated by all this structure that I'm going to talk about. But why, I just warning you, I've been contemplating offering Tiesto and Jordan Dunks at the start as well as the end, but I don't want to claim anything on stuff. I don't want to promise you that magic wand everything's going to be better and stuff. But the level that, say, some of these epic GSF allies that are very honorable, honest, authentic, would never do violative stuff, have been really up against it and trusted me and stuck with me for many years. We're really born fruit by the dedication and discovery. Like I said in some of the videos, the understanding has been parabolic of late. And so this video for me, offering a variable relative to my dream time and discovery, it tracks back to an era, a parallel before I met all these guys, and I was very on my game. And I talk often about how 2013, like driving or catching a train to my meditation group and just realizing how there was just no one around and stuff, and I'd been just like, I was very pissed off with the people I was dealing with. I was very much used in that second half of 2013 by Andrew and stuff, and I was just over it. And you know, we trusted these sort of giving away our perception authority, and yeah, it was just, I realized that there weren't many, and so I committed to whatever I was going to commit to. And to me it was like I was committing to my Earth guardianship of Earth and the universe and stuff. And so one of the dreams I had was back in 2015, which is GSF 9 that I talk about, but I'll get into that a little bit. But all I'm just saying is, from my perspective, like having this recent mega dream that I'm going to talk about, it was like that whole 9 years relative to all these people that I've dealt with, I sort of lost that ability. And I just want to offer that because I'm out the other side, and we've had some really big victories on the structures of what I'm going to talk about. And those of you that have been committed to sort of my teachings and my solutions that I offer, because I'm not here to mess around, I'm here to solve this stuff. I come from an IT engineer background that was all about discovering the variables relative to the most complex problems that no one else could do, and going in and fixing them and having a high expectation on that. So I'm not here to mess around. I think humanity have settled for a very minuscule level of their potential because we have this structure that I'm going to talk about that we've worked out. Right? But the reason why I wanted to offer the Tiesto clip and the dance floor and stuff, as you know, if you've been around me for a while, like one of my most profound journeys of my life was investing in DJing in the 90s and stuff, and that was back in the era before the internet and with records versus CDs, and that era there was no internet. It was more word of mouth and stuff, and I'll just offer a bit of the metaphor of my style, what I offer. I come from, if you've watched Stranger Things or Lost and stuff like that, they have old school tech, analog tech and stuff. And the way I do my content is I'm not here to do bells and whistles. I'm here, like, I invest purely to be my best in this moment, to offer like what I offer here. It's a challenge to keep all these variables and puzzle pieces and try and eloquently impart them to you so you actually get these massive concepts as puzzle pieces for yourself, right? So I keep the way I deliver and all that. I was an IT consultant. I'm very good at being a keyboard ninja and working out programs and how to make things look good and stuff. I'm very deliberate in how I do stuff and deliver and offer everything. It's all about making it as simple as possible, a bit like a 1980s cassette tape, because I used to stay up all night, and back in the early 90s when dance music was first coming out, it was midnight to 2 or something like that, and I'd have to stay up and record the whole show, and then I'd go through it with a cassette tape and find the songs I wanted, and it was very manual, very intensive and stuff. There was no downloads and stuff like that. You had no idea of what the DJs or the songs were playing and stuff, so you might hear a song and just like it, and then you'd have to go and find it. Back in the early days when I got going, it was terrifying going into record store. It was such a in thing and stuff, and the big thing about when DJing and dance music was really taking hold in the early 90s, there was a difference between an underground track and a commercial track. As soon as it got in the public airways, you hated it because it was commercial. It's like you wanted that deep underground, hard to get, really word of mouth. Like you wanted the tracks that everyone else liked, that were, there was this cool sort of peer group sort of attitude, if that makes sense. And so getting into DJing and stuff, what I realized is all it was hard work. I'd have to go into record stores every day, every 3 days when they got orders in, to just go through like 500 or 600 records and find the 2 or 3 that I was after. And you guys might be older like me, like the whole thing of going into record stores or bookstores and browsing, we've lost that discovery of, wow, this is what I never knew I was looking for. So back in 2008, when I was getting into my currency trading, I would go into Borders bookstores, buy a coffee and have a pile, 20, 30 books and just devour them on a subject and cross-reference everything. And we don't have that anymore. But just getting back to the DJing, and the reason why I'm offering this is my expression now of truth and stuff, and healing and all that sort of stuff. It's once you got comfortable with the records and the structure of society and stuff, what I realized is a lot of the record stores, they had relationships with the DJs, and they'd hold a lot of the tracks back for the best DJs. So they would have all these exclusive tracks that you couldn't get. And then taking it up a level, before Tiesto, there were people like Paul Oakenfold and Carl Cox, if you know those guys. They're still around, but they've been going for 30, 40 years now. And they would actually not only DJ and be very in demand around the world and stuff, even back then, but they would make their own tracks and stuff. And what would happen is these guys would get super famous, and because, like I said, that structure of DJing and stuff, it was very clicky, it was very word of mouth, and you would hear a track and you'd see the effect of the dance floor and you'd want it, right? You'd want to move the crowd, you'd want to try and find the pattern of what people wanted, but also what you love as well. And so a lot of DJs could be really selfish. They were only playing the stuff that they wanted to play. And a very interesting variable, say if you're empathic, you want, like my attitude with DJing, I wanted people to have an awesome night. And I would go out to clubs and stuff and I'd know all the tracks like after the first couple of beats and stuff, and I was really committed to, in my passion state of that, to want to get the best tracks. And you wanted to get, ideally from my perspective as a DJ, you wanted people to have an awesome night. You want, and the whole thing about the DJ and the dance floor and stuff, it was like back in the 90s, sexuality was very, like there was a lot of shame in society and stuff like that if you weren't convention and stuff. But on the dance floor, to me, it was like the purity of freedom of expression in society. It was like you didn't care about that stuff. People could be themselves, and I've had a glimpse of that freedom and the love and all that of those very early era, which they still try to emanate now, but it was like a movement back then rather than a commercial industry as it is now. It's very different. And analog records versus digital, like CDs and stuff, it's way different, right? It doesn't have the punch or the effect on the body, right? So to me, DJing, it filters all the high-end stuff that would actually really activate your codes and stuff like that, right? But so the structure was eventually DJs would get prominent, like they'd become prominent and popular and stuff, and they would get a following, and then you get to these big global DJs and stuff, and then they would travel internationally and stuff. So what would happen is the bigger level DJs, instead of them chasing records and tracks, like producers or record labels, they would actually send them to them for free. Because what would happen is the way that you'd sell records and stuff is, and it even happened like when I was doing it in the 2000s and stuff with, say, Tiesto and that, what would happen, it would be a massive victory if you get played by one of these top DJs. I remember like Paul Oakenfold, he would play like the up-and-comers and stuff, and there was this particular track by this artist called Arksun, Arksun, Astro Dancer. You can go have a look at it, it'll be on YouTube. It's like a breakbeat sort of uplifting trance track. This guy was like a bedroom guy like me, and Paul Oakenfold played it, and it made him super famous and got a lot following. So it was like these epic high level, you know, GSF level DJs, you know, like Michael Jordan's a DJing. They would get the tracks, they would might get sent 1,000 or 2,000 a week, and they would have people actually going through them and filtering them, finding good stuff, and then they might find 50 or whatever and just maybe select a couple out of that, and then they would play them. And then what would happen is people would hear them and be like, everyone would want that track. That's how the industry worked and sold things and stuff. And so a lot of these DJs would probably get paid a lot of money to play tracks, because to do all that, there was all this business side of it, which I hate. You know, to me it was all about purity and experience and freedom and, you know, having joy in this crazy world and stuff like that. But that's how businesses works and stuff like that. There's always vested interests and things like that. So aside from that, a bit of a tangent for me, I worked out vested interests contaminate potential, alright? So there's a lot of people out there that have agendas to get you perspectives that maybe you see them in a certain way, and they're actually going out and hacking and spreading falsehood and stuff to discredit people and all that sort of stuff. And I never even contemplated this could go on, and we've learnt a lot in the last, say, 12 months, 3 years, particularly the last 6 months. But getting just back to the DJing, and this is the metaphor of truth that I want to share. So for me, I was like, when I was DJing and stuff, I appreciate all this, but I just thought that your talent would allow you to rise. But it was like, no, it was scratch each back. So you had to do something for another person, or you had to market yourself, or, you know, wear people down to get a chance and stuff like that. I just thought talent would get you there, but it's not the case. I saw how corrupt it was, and all the drugs and all that sort of stuff. But when I was DJing, I was actually very passive. The empath of me was like very passive to DJing. I never got huge chances and stuff, but the ones I realized I didn't make the most of and stuff. And so one of the variables for me is like, not regret, but I was naive and ignorant to all of this stuff and didn't take the most of the opportunities I had when I had them and stuff. But what I'm just getting to is the people like Tiesto and that, the metaphor of truth is, say these very successful artists, what they would do is they would forge their own narrative on the dance floor, you know, their own style, their own tracks that they would choose, whether all the percolations that they came through, and they would be at the forefront and carving the path for the rest. And they wouldn't look to follow, they would just do their own thing, and then others would follow them because the lack of self-worth and all those sort of things, you know, and wanting to emulate that. Like I just put Tiesto out there because there was something very special about him, and I've got clips of me on the dance floor and what it was like on the dance floor from that 2008 experience where 2 days before my ex had the fall and everything got started. It was May 2008, early May. But what I'm just saying about, say, me and where I'm at now is a bit of a metaphor of this. So I've been passive and following and all that sort of stuff and accommodating the spiritual community and, you know, the alternate community and all the stuff going on and stuff. And to me, everything that's sort of come before this, to me, and I want to invite you to appreciate this, is that nothing has worked. We're in a worse situation than we've ever been, all right? There's some really tight things they've been trying to implement that will potentially suppress humanity forever on the planet, all right? On levels that we're never going to be organic DNA freedom and stuff like that. So it's like, it's been go time. And to me, like what I'm going to talk about, these dreams and stuff, it's like I came from, say, Project Camelot and all that. In 2008 and 10, there were so many videos that were prophetic about what's been rolled out. But I talk about this TV show called Flash Forward. And it's about you getting 137 seconds of your future, 6 months, I think it was. And it's so abstract and stuff. It has no relationship to now, but the show goes through it all, the variables of all the people, and it just plays out to that. So the future is so abstract from the present. It's almost incomprehensible to reference to now because it has no reference, all right? So combining all that I've said about DJing and the industry and spirituality and all that sort of stuff, where I find myself now is I've accommodated all that. I've exhausted it to the nth degree, like probably no one else on the planet, okay? And I'm looking for the solutions in it, and the byproduct is getting more effed up, more derailed, more attacked and stuff like that. But I've had this core in me going back to 2015 and 13, like I know I accepted my guardianship there, and it's not defined by anything out there. Like, I love Asha and stuff, but there's 3 big variables with her. To me, like, just this sheer, just the poetic nature of how perfect the CDT tablet number 12 came to her, alright? The other thing is, she was in a abusive relationship for 10 years, alright? So, to me, like, the assumption that the CD tablets aren't hacked, it's like, it was in the possession of, say, Illuminati, like she said, and it came to her just before all that stuff unfolded 25 years ago. So the assumption that it couldn't be hacked, to me, it was like, assumptions are the mother of all F-ups, alright? And so, I love her stuff, her delivery, her linguistics, her generosity and holding space for the potential of everyone, like not being so polarized or anything like that. You know, in this war that we've been in, and we've been at a massive disadvantage, the truth that she's offered me in parallel to, say, Andrew's, it opened everything up, right? Because I explored him to the nth degree. I worked with it, I created it, I was doing 80 hours a week from anything. I saved his business and almost got taken out and all this sort of stuff. And one of the dreams that I'll talk about was in all that era and stuff. But yeah, the 3 variables are just too good to be true that came back, the CDT-12. She was in an abusive relationship, so potentially her partner got hijacked and all this sort of stuff. Alright, and then I've got the audio where she outed him and stuff, right? And then in that, she talks about her guides telling her to stay in that relationship, right? And that's just like crazy, okay? So many things, like, I love her and I appreciate her and I honor her for being the standard and all that, but there's all these variables that, you know, all I'm saying is I'm being tough on her and stuff, and I still accept her information despite all that, but everything before now has set us up for failure. Nothing has worked. Everything is sort of on a structural level. It's so endgame for the system at the moment. It's like, that's why I did GSF 27. Like, I'd been ready to go for a lot of years, and I've been looking for people to do this stuff with, and to me it's not hard. It's like the amount of energy I put into, say, a session or talking or doing this GSF is the same. It's what comes out of it and the benefit of all. And it's you know, like how in Empire Strikes Back, Luke is trying to lift a stone and he can do it, but he can't lift the X-Wing because it's a perception of the volume and the weight and the size and stuff that he's inadequate. But then, yeah, like Tiny Yoda goes and doesn't even blink an eyelid and stuff. So it's the energy investment is the same. It's what does that investment, and it's not seeking a return of investment, but it's like all I'm just inviting is us as human on Earth, so minuscule now, we're still freaking epic, and my whole infinite potential is like, why do we put a cap on ourselves? The cap that we put on ourselves is the limit when we don't actually have limits, okay? So going through that DJing era of being very passive and not taking the chances I had and not having regret, but just not knowing the attitudes to employ and stuff, but then appreciating all these DJs who they got into the zone where they're best and the output was sort of success and followings and stuff like that. And I'm not trying to do that here, but all I'm just saying is with all that context of the spiritual community and all that I've done and my skill set at finding solutions with the data and that, I've had to go into my own unknown territory of working out solutions that have never been offered. Like I'm a bow of truth in the falsehood out there, and I've been carving my own path, and I'm an outlier. I'm not accommodating anything out there, but by going into that unknown and not seeking validation by anything out there, not giving my perception authority away to these people who have vast talents. And one of the big things I sort of learned after Max Steel and stuff is that I had this assumption people with higher level talents, they had to earn them by being good. So there was an assumption I had in my mechanics of, oh, these guys that are superior to me are better than me. But we'd never known there's freaking invaders and wars and code stealing and all of that sort of shit, alright? But I've had to discover these. I've had to go to the books and do thousands of hours and all this stuff. I'm just imparting it to you guys to make it a lot easier and stuff. And so combining all this, and the reason why I had that track is like we had a massive victory in this and what I'm going to impart. And so what I'll do with this intro, I'll get into some components. I'll do a bit of a quick overview of the pure source and all that sort of stuff, and then I'll talk about my dream time, and then I'll talk about the mission. I'll try and do it in before it gets dark, alright? So I'm just going to get into that now. So it's actually getting quite dark quick, and I'm going to have to motor through this, but I'll try not to do it too quick. And what I might do is if it starts getting too dark too quick, because it did to me the other day, I might do this is part 1 and then get into the variables in a part 2, and we'll see what happens, alright? But what I want to do is just give you a bit of an overview of like the pure source spiritual assembly for multiverse resolution, because maybe you haven't gone through the other material and stuff. It's been pretty epic, and like I said, I'm forging a new spiritual path based on everything that's come before, but with my own original content based on missions and stuff, alright? Because the people I really deal with now, they're very honorable and integrity based, and we've all been really smashed over these last couple of months particularly, but it's like we've forged such massive understandings. To me, it was plus all the healing and stuff I've done with myself, and say help from people I know that are really amazing that have supported me and stuff. This dream was a massive byproduct of that, but it brought about more stuff, right? So what I'm going to do, just do that bit of an overview, right? So, because I've expanded a few of these concepts, because from this recent couple months, I think this will be really potent for you guys to really get a handle of, because, you know, my 7-year-old images are really potent. So yeah, I'll just get into this quick, right? So I've shared this image many times, and one of the big GSFs, I think it was 28, 29, it was all about discovery of the invasion versus pure source. So the law of one, just getting to it, was a lot of the negative that goes on into the universe, right? It was a source has created the negative for us to learn lessons. So can take back all the information back to source, sort of thing, to expand its awareness and that. All right. So we're just thinking, we're being taught by the community that the negative is purposeful and we've got to go through negative experiences, blah blah blah. Well, what we worked out, and a lot of these people that I met, I allude to in some way in the future, they'll probably be mega famous, but it's been mission mode and undercover. Like when I first started coming out into public, I was like very apprehensive about it because we were doing all these missions and it wasn't safe and stuff. So a lot of the people have been highly targeted, and I, like, all this stuff that I learnt now has been an ally for us to just endure all the shit, let alone push back, right? So one of the recordings late last year I talked about this, where we worked out just at the moment of conception, our source was invaded by an opportunistic multiverse invader that corrupted us, alright? So if you've gone through my Sovereignty Declaration version 3, and what I might do before I release this, I've been sort of brewing to actually do an update on version 3.2, I think, which is out, 3.21. I might release a version 3.31 with just the new linguistics, changing the spiritual code equity as I've worked out relative to the dream time corruption. I think it was about it would be 5 releases before this Pure Source Spiritual Assembly for Multiverse Resolution, which I connected all the dream time to the law and stuff, and being in Australia with the dream time and all that is poetic, right? So yeah, what I might do it before I release this. I'll put it up on my website, version 3.31, with the new linguistics in there, because I was just waiting for me to get on my game, sort of thing, and I feel really on it with the poetic nature of all this. So the timing is good to get that linguistics right. I won't do a big edit, but I'll just do a bit of a update, so it's in there frequency-wise relative to me. But we worked out that our universe was invaded, right? And so we've been dealing with that ever since. So if you've gone through the Sovereignty Declaration, it's all in there. And I'll leave this and I'll just move on, because I just wanted to show you this and go to the next one. So over these last couple of months, we worked out that Pure Source was corrupted. It's been blocked from us by the invaders, and I use the big triangle as a metaphor of the all-seeing eye, Yahweh, and all that sort of stuff. We've had these allies which revealed ourselves when one of these allies and we defeated Baal, right? And 10,000 Central Suns wanted to defeat him, right? So we defeated Baal. That was in September last year. Very nasty entity, right? And so we worked out the structure of the universe, and what's been going on is, the feeding and all that, going to the negative universe and all this phantom matrix and all this sort of stuff, right? So moving on, what I worked out was, it was almost like there was a checkmate of all the negative in these invaders throughout the multiverse and stuff, right? And so going back before our universe was created, our universe to me was like I call it pure source, because it was like learning lessons of all the other stuff that had gone on in other multiverses and stuff. And at the moment of checkmate of all the other stuff, right at the moment of our universal conception, to me it was like they evaded the checkmate situation. They migrated themselves all to us. So instead of us being the most pure universe, it's been perhaps the most corrupted and hardest and all that. And so ever since, we've had to deal with that over 1 trillion years, as I say in the Sovereignty Declaration. So it's even been harder than all the others combined. And if you read the Sovereignty Declaration, we've never had a chance of purity and stuff, right? So we've all, in our DNA and all this sort of stuff, we've been corrupted. We've had defeat after defeat after defeat. You imagine bullies that are superior to us and had a massive advantage to us, had us corrupted and all that sort of stuff. And that's why it's been so hard. It's been so epic. Alright? And I just want to move on. In the videos I've released the last couple of months, you can get more info on all this. I'm just offering this because I've evolved certain things, okay? So getting to the scales on Earth and stuff, right? I've used this image many times, but the top is a metaphor of who I call the frackers, who have been messing with us and we've never known it. And you know, our lives have been messed up and that we've trusted people in the community and we've invested in them. We've invested in concepts like Reiki and all this sort of stuff that put codes in us, that backdoors, that have guides that are invader, you know, ETs and all that sort of stuff. So over the last, say, 12 months, it worked out that a lot of these people in the community that I've dealt with aren't independent. They're actually working together on another level. And they've tried to shift blame in the 3D. Like how they work on the 3D is very different in the multi-D. Like they might see independent and at each other's throat and stuff, but they're, as Asher had that content called United in True to Resistance, it's like they've all been united against us and we've never known it, right? So on the 3D we listen to them and believe them, but on the multi-D they're savaging us and stuff. So long story short, it worked out the evolution, the unity, but there's also this big black cloud, which is all the organization that these minions in the community are working with, and we've never known it. So part of the process of the sovereignty declaration, working with each individual and trying to hold space so that they can defend themselves, plus doing these missions with these people that in their mastery are up to it and stuff. Like, I'm not here to train people up. You've got to be a GSF level and work at that level. That's why the whole Stealing My Concept by Carlene and Amir last year was such a, like, I offered the readings that Andrew Bartzis did of me, and at an hour and 14 minutes into that he said, the theme of my journey as a soul is like I get to the apex of creation and my work stolen from me, or I get to the apex of creation and my work stolen from me and I'm killed and that. And so the whole logic of two people hooking up, alright, and then contorting my concept that I've created and worked with lots of people over the years to draw kids in, it's the opposite of what it's about. To me, it's go time. It would take 10 to 15 to 20 years to train kids up, if they're even up to it. And a lot of people want to send their kids because they think they're special and all that, but they're not, and all this sort of crap. And it was just gnarly. It was all derailment, and I was tried to be taken out and stuff. And the hypocrisy of, you know, stealing my concept after going through years of all that stuff and what happened, it's like, it's all very strategic, and there was this big combined effort to take me out last year and stuff. And so the byproduct of all this, I learn it, and it's not about adding things and talking about stuff. It's just like the unprofessionalism, and, you know, I'll talk about an experience of when I first moved out at some point where the two people just totally messed me up and stuff, and I lost friendship because moving in with a couple is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. So these people that read you and stuff, like doing the very worst thing at the worst time is like an indicator of all this stuff, you know. We each, like, I talk about kryptonite and all that sort of stuff, but yeah, it's like when they, like, putting a stab in the heart sort of thing, like the most vulnerable place, you know, the stuff that's gone on in your past, using that against you at this time, it's like a weapon, alright? So I'll just move on because I've got a next one to show, but it's just like all of these data points have allowed me to see the pattern and all the experiences people going through in sessions and stuff, alright? So I just want to emphasize there is an organization, and that's the Invader network and stuff, right? If we go back to the big source multiverse sort of stuff, trickling down to us in the 3D of the structures that we've been up against. Because I'm going to marry all this stuff together, right? So this is the journey of the spiritual path and stuff, and I won't get into this a lot, but I've shown this many times. So this is what it's been like as an individual, trying to go up against that. We've never known this, right? And to me, this is one of my biggest victories, to work all this stuff out and impart it to you guys. Like, it's almost impossible to work all this stuff out, but the coordinates of all the messed up stuff. So this thing at the start is like when you get spooked and stuff, you might go back to familiar patterns, but it's a sympathetic resonance to falsehood, and you go into the red again because you gravitate to the falsehood rather than the pure source teachers and stuff to help, and healers such as myself to get you through all the shit. But it's not an easy journey, alright? I'll just move on. I did Incarnation War Part 6, and what I worked out, a lot of the people in the community are actually hybrids, and they've got codes, and their lineages have all been set up to be superior in their technology. So, you know, like I said earlier on about the highly aware have enormous integrity to gain the skills. It's all been seeded and set up to derail us now you know, the 2012 movement and stuff. Like I offered Crystal Skulls Part 1, and those of you that have watched that, I hope you got the codes. Earth, nature and all that, there's a lot that they're trying to give us and stuff. And so for me, like offering the video I did, there was a lot of, the Crystal Skulls want to get access to you guys, to give them direct code access. So if you listen to that and what I said about how epic the actual images are and stuff, there was a lot in that for you guys. And it's ironic it's been one of the least viewed because, yeah, potentially a lot of people don't want their codes, but a lot of influences are going on to prevent people seeing that it was one of the most important releases I've offered. But going back to the 600 years ago, like the whole derailment of the crystal skulls for our defense was a part of the setup of all this, right? So we're vulnerable to these superior people that are at war and aligned with the invaders and stuff, right? So they got the invader aligned Leviathan skin suit of all the, you know, the Illuminati and all that sort of stuff, or the biggest scales of Asher sort of stuff. This is a micro of that macro, right? So I'll just move on. So this is what I've done today. It's an expansion of that invader network and stuff. And so what we've worked out is there's these anti-gods and collectives and stuff, right? So I'm just going to show you this quick because I want to move on and get to the main components of this, right? But yeah, like this is the structures that we've been up against, so we've had no idea. So this is a bit more of an expanded one. But what we've been able to do is work out the structures on a big level with the pure source and stuff, and there's these anti-gods that are just like negative little brothers of the pure source itself, and they've been puppeting stuff. Like there's this government level. If you go back to GSF 30, we worked out there's a lot of, say, intelligence infiltration in the communities and stuff that are hijacking and weaponizing and stuff. So we got through a lot of the frackers in the community to get into the next layer, and we got a lot of pushback. And then we've had these massive anti-god sort of level beings that are going at us because we're the threat to their authority in the universe sort of thing. And then they've got these collectives of millions of, say, one of them is like demon snake sort of thing. That's one I've been dealing with lately, and people have been like, people in the community actually work with these collectives and send them at us and stuff, and I've been able to clear and return the source. Part of me getting clear for this stream was actually we worked out this structure, and we were going at the variables that were going at our immediate direct support network or all of the stuff around us. So there's a lot of you guys in the community that have actually been through negative experiences, and these frackers who you might have invested in, they've branded you to be their control, and then you step out and then they might target you and all that, and target all your family and all this sort of stuff. And what I'm just getting to is, I'll elaborate more on this, but you see that we've gotten a very much high level, thanks to the pure source mechanics of the multiverse invasion and stuff, of the structures that we've been up against that have been far superior, and no one in the community has offered anything like this, right? So I'm just offering this. You can pause and have a look at it, but just appreciate the depth that we've come to. A lot of you guys have been mega targeted, and see when you come for sessions, it's like you've been up against this and I've had to try and defend you with this, right? And then once we're done, because like, you know, I'm all about clearing out the traumas and stuff and mastering that rather than going for glory of talents and stuff. You have to have a solid foundation, and this is where all the corruption sort of come from. So this is what you've been up against, all right? And what we've all been up against. And this is how, it's not playing small or being weak, it's like how epic we are, right? How amazing we are to be able to endure all this shit. And that's why it's so tough here on Earth, and all the community is not in our alignment and stuff like that. So I'll elaborate more on this in the future. I just wanted to offer it as an expansion of all that, to give you a bit of a pattern, because you guys are epic. You'll see the pattern of the mechanics, and ideally I'm giving you the outside edges of the puzzle, and you'll see the own unique, like my pattern recognition. The menu unique, the outcome's common. Like the menu for each of us might be unique in the variables of undermining and sabotaging, but the pattern is very clear. So all you need to do is just interpretate that differently, overlay it with your life and what you've been through on the soul, and it might unpack a lot, and realize like how epic you are. You're not minuscule, right? So I'm just going to move on. So this is a metaphor of the community, and there's invaders that are corrupting everyone, and we've never known about it. I've got this on my website and I've got this on my Instagram and stuff like that. But I'm just going to go through it pretty quick, all right? Because I'm going to elaborate on my sessions and stuff, all right? So, yeah, that's a bit of that's what it's like. We've never known it. These operators are actually going after the people we clear and all this sort of stuff, going after us. And I'm not meant to be here with all the people I've dealt with and what I've gone through. It's like, that's why I call myself an invader cockroach, because it just can't be eliminated. And a lot of people are really being destroyed and turned against me and all this sort of stuff. But I'm coming out the other side, all right? Because what I've done in the last 12 months, in my expression of way I offer it, I've actually taken responsibility for all this stuff, and it's not been my fault. But I've made it hard on myself and offered you that in my delivery, because then the people that aren't aligned to me will get shaken out, and you guys that are remaining here will launch from that, all right? Because I am taking responsibility for what's not my fault, because it's a bit like if you have an accident in a car, even if it's not your fault, you're on the road. So they give you, say, 5% of fault for actually being there, all right? So I have fault because I've actually been a launch pad for a lot of invaders and tried to do the right thing and stuff and all that. But we're coming out the other end, and it's just interesting, all right? So I'm going to move on. So I've also got this on my Instagram and website and stuff, and this is about the metaphor of the journey and what it's been like, and dealing with all the invaders and all that sort of stuff. You might go through good aha moments, you might get targeted and all that, but then you ideally would come out the other side, right? So I'm just going to move on because it's getting dark. So I've had this image as well. This is a metaphor of me doing sessions, okay? So it's been very tough for me because it's like people are branded and messed with and used as Trojan horses and all that, and I'm doing my best with people and trying to get them clear, alright? And so the metaphor is like my evolution of my sessions and stuff, thanks to all the data of all the variables plus all the missions. It feels like I've gotten to a state now, like I shared this a while ago, but now it's like I'm able to help people defend themselves. And the pushback we're getting really to the heart of the negative in the universe, alright? It's been epic, and it's been tough for a lot of people. Sometimes, like I try and, inexperience is the key to wisdom. As I said, you don't know what will define people, so maybe getting smashed will be the defining moment of realizing this is real. And people get turned on me and all that sort of stuff, and I just have to weather the storm of the individual journey, but I just have to maintain myself to be able to hold space for all the people that come through, plus doing all these missions and all this stuff, right? So I'm just going to move on because I'll evolve this, okay? So this is the evolution, right? It's a bit dark, but I hope you can see the image on the side, right? So as you can see, I've got the green and the red, the fractal barrier, and the idea is that I help people get beyond all this stuff, right? But what I'm evolving this is, a lot of you guys out there that have been solid with me, that have invested in what I've done, it's all contributed to the victories that have been going on. And you know, there's this whole like a luster about grid workers, and you've got to do all this shit and all this sort of stuff. If you go into the Asher stuff, it's like a PhD of crap, and you've got to do all these spins and all this sort of crap. We're all grid workers. The key is to master yourself in the moment, and every breath is grid work, okay? And so you being on your game, thinking that you've probably got to do other stuff, it's an expression of humbleness, which is an ally to all this, okay? But I'm really wanting to empower you guys that have been solid with me, particularly if you've been through a brutal time of the recent few months. It's not that I'm connecting into you. We're independent operators operating at our best to anchor our purity no matter where we are, with all the concepts, say, I've offered about the pure source and stuff. There's a vulnerability because we're a threat to all this, because we're the superiority to everything, and we've believed that we're not for so long, and we're coming out of that nightmare, all right, of construct. But what I'm just offering is that this is a combination of that individual journey plus the bigger scales of stuff. It's like, I feel with my mechanics of everything I've worked out, it's the antidote to all this stuff of my epic solution-orientated IT engineer of investing and working hard of all this time, what we're doing now is we're actually getting pushback of all this stuff. They've grinded us down to nothing, and it hasn't been enough. We're all invader cockroaches, and they haven't taken us out. It's been tough and it's been brutal, probably especially the last 6 to 12 months, even the last couple months. But what we had is this massive breakthrough, all right? And so I feel with all this, like breaking down the false dream time with the Pure Source Spiritual Assembly for multiverse resolution, and my Universal Sovereignty Declaration version 3, it's actually being an ally to us, actually, and working out the 10,000 Central Suns, 1,000 dragons and stuff, and busting all these in the community and doing the audit and constantly doing more audits. And I audit everyone in my sessions, not for you of your violation, but all the violations of you, and it will trickle back. And like, violation is our asset, so it will trickle back to all of these beings, all right? And then it'll be their corrosive thing of all their violations. They can't hide from their violations at 1000D, all right? They can have portals where they're doing all their negative shit, they're hiding all their skeletons in a no-time closet and all that. Well, we've ordered all the shit. Pure Source is over it. Earth is over it all as well, all right? And she's going to be stepping in, trust me. Like, it's getting a bit dark, so I actually might round this out and make 2 parts, right? But this is the setup for what I'm going to offer, all right? And this is the strategy to overcome all this, all right? Because I appreciate your respect and your investment if you guys have invested in sessions and stuff. There's been a lot of, like, this isn't adding up sort of shit going on, okay? And so there's been, like, the outcomes don't add up to what I've discovered and all this sort of stuff, but it's all working out. The infiltrators in the community and the next level in society and stuff, and then like the negative ETs and the negative collectives that are targeting us and all those around us, and you know, you might just get a bit of peace and stuff, alright? And then they come at you when you disarm and all that sort of stuff. So all of this data has been included into the Sovereignty Declaration and the new linguistics and all the videos I've offered in the last few months, alright? But what I want to do is just move on to the next one quick. So that's the fractal barrier. We've been able to defend ourselves now. Those of you, and I also want to offer this, those of you that have actually been dedicated and early on in this, it's been brutal for us because we're the ones anchoring all this stuff. And I will just offer from a karma credit point of view and an honor and the soul journey and all that. It's all known that, like, you've been badass in the worst time to be able to forge this. It's not just me and the people I'm around, it's all of you out there that have actually trusted me and invested in this stuff. And like, you may have gone through the journeys of being polarized with me and that, but on some level you've always known I'm a bit of an outlier in my mechanics. It's like I'm relentless, and the whole discovery process and joy of that, it's really profound, right? So I'll just move on because it's getting dark, right? So if we take all those variables together and we match it, and we're all guardians on Earth, alright? So I'll offer those of you that have done the declaration and had sessions, and even if you haven't and that, but you allow my concepts to percolate through and add it to your algorithm or your data for discernment and stuff. You just accepting all this as a possibility. It's like you're a grid worker, you're a guardian, you're a defender of all this. As I said, everything that's come before us has never worked, alright? It's actually contributed to setting us up for worse failure. And you can say there's war and corruption and all that sort of stuff. Like I said, I love Asher and that, but it hasn't been enough. And so I am a bow of truth now, you know, going out on my own, offering all these concepts that no one else has ever offered, alright? To be able to impart all this and show that we are the way, alright? We are so epic. Everything out there will grind you down and make you feel nothing. Like these collectives and these anti-gods and stuff, they've been brutal. They're not here to mess around. They want us gone, and they want to take control, and then they want to move on to another universe and stuff. They just want to use us as source for their nourishment, alright? And so despite being so grinded down to nothing, despite being at such a disadvantage, That's why I say we're so epic. And every time I say epic beings, and we're infinite potential, because as you can see, you matter, the red sort of reach is like one of these negative anti-gods with all the substructure and all the frackers in the community and stuff. And those green lines that say us in different areas of the world. So it's really interesting. I've dealt with a lot of really amazing people that are so isolated and peerless in their own journey, like peerless peers, that it's like you guys, wherever you are, you're actually holding the line for our potential. And I'm going to drop it here, alright, because it's like there's no point getting into this big dream that I talk about. But for me and my own journey, it's poetic in me as a metaphor of all this. And when I get to it in a part 2, alright, I'll employ all this sort of stuff of the structure of what we're being. Like, just imagine like you're one of the few in the multiverse that have been able to get through here as a soul, so grounded down. If you really invest in the sovereignty declaration and see that you're embodying this antidote state for all, right? And so, you know, like I said about having that that tree, okay, image, and I'll probably have it in this, right? It's like we're being the bridge for Earth to have pure source connection. She's been so disconnected. She's held the line, but she's been under barrage for so long. And we've finally gotten through to her to get her to the pure source. And like I said, Galactic Special Forces 27 was helping Metatron out. He's a mega being for 250 billion years, being corrupted, and no one actually offered him the context to organically come out of it, his bad mood and corruption himself. Right? And they're all grateful for us, right? They're grateful for you. And see how hard it's been and all that sort of stuff. It's like I'm trying to inspire you to just keep holding the line, right? And if we keep holding this, more will come through. And yeah, I'm not going to talk about this dream now because it's like a bit poetic. I'm actually offering this as a teaching. This will be a stepping stone. This is our victories. This is your victory of your dedication. It's not just mine and the people I deal with directly or the people that come through in sessions. It's those of you even willing to contemplate this stuff. It's opening up your potential for the rest of humanity to be a lot easier to come. And so, you know, going back to that Egypt video where we prevented a lot of, like 65 to 70% of energy being harvested from humanity. All that energy is percolating back, and this is what my ally Captain Marvel said, that from Earth direct, because she just deals with pure source and pure Earth, alright? We're just like, we're being under brutal attack, alright? I might just go back to the other image, because so do you get this, alright? So wherever you are on the planet, you might be actually isolated in that, but we're actually forming a pure source bubble for all the potential to come, and we're superior than all this. Our minuscule nothing self that we are, that gone through 1 trillion years of this crap, it's like we're invincible now, alright? So I'm just going to go back to the other image. So this one, it's been brutal, alright? It's been brutal for us for a while. And those few of us, we've taken a lot of hits because there's not many of us that are taking the focus. But like I said, take a deep breath. It might not feel like we've had many victories. The news and all that is all negative to make us feel like we're defeated and that, but I'll get into this dream time in the next one. I might do it midweek and stuff. But this is a very big, the story so far, alright? So this is like the awareness victory that we got. Like no one else has been able to come with this. A lot in the community might hate me and all this sort of stuff because I'm busting them, and like when we've audited all their shit, it's all going to fall apart. They're going to have nowhere to hide. People are going to see all the bullshit that's been done to them. And this is what you've been up against. So I just want to really empower you to keep holding the line. Take a few breaths, take a step back. Maybe take some screenshots. I'll look to get a couple of these images up to my Instagram so you can just process them and see what they unlock in you. This might be a next leg up. And what I was saying about Captain Marvel and Pure Source and Earth and stuff, she said it needs to be out there, that say even just going around the trees and all and life, they're actually blooming with so much life force, right? And codes and stuff like that. I only talk about the gifts that Earth have been offering in sessions when the coast is clear after all the epic journey I go through, the pranic healing and stuff, right? But yeah, life, they're all on our side, alright? And you can go around trees and nature and stuff. Like, I've always been a food whisperer and go around food, and I've done all this innately, but I would offer you, if you're feeling lethargic or defeated or fatigued and stuff, just go around nature, because they want us, few, and those that are to come, to have every advantage to being in alignment with this, alright? Because us on the surface in human form are the apex of, say, the universal defense of all this stuff. No one else has been able to do it, alright? And so there's so much on our side, alright? Humanity is so good to the core, right? The vast majority are so amazing and stuff. It's just a small amount that make it bad for us. So don't lose hope. Regroup, take a step back, process this, and just rearm and take yourself to the next level. There's codes and all that where Earth wants us to know. Pure Source Connected Earth wants us to know that we're the ones that got to be accept our gifts and all that are just blooming, alright? We've got to integrate them and stuff. So my sovereignty declaration is a method to doing that, alright? But again, you can just embody that and immerse yourself in it. You know, if you've done it and stuff, just tune back into the moment that you've done it and embody it, alright? But yeah, I'm going to aim to probably get that next version out. So this video, it's like a part one of a bigger story of some Dreamtime victories that I had. We're in the middle of winter and stuff, so I'm just going to round this out. So I really thank you for all that you've had to endure that you don't know. I hope all what I've offered is helping you to add context to all the crap that you've been up against. I hope your trust in people has not been destroyed by the violations that you've probably individually been. Us having these defeats, it's felt like the targeting has been off the charts, but I think like with all the victories we've had in claiming back gifts and life force and stuff, the sensitivity has gone off the chart, the effect isn't as bad. So don't be perturbed if you've been hit and stuff. Just acknowledge that maybe your awareness has gone off the charts and you have to recalibrate to that, okay? But I really want to honor you for being here and finding me and allowing me to be a part of your journey. I hope this is really empowering and like another gear in your breath of enduring all the crap you've been through. It's not time to give up, it's time to let's take this home. These invaders are done. Everyone in the universe doesn't want them anymore. And when I get to this dream, it'll be epic, alright? Because it's pretty poetic. But I hope this is empowering and I hope you get a lot from this. And Pure Source, Tiesto, Jordan, from down under in the house, rocking it as always. I hope you really liked the intro and the song and got a lot of power from it. I was going to combine it with I might put it there next time or something else, but I was going to combine it with the victory of this dream that I had, but I'll impart that in a future one with this as a foundation, alright? So next time, guys, I hope you get a lot from this. I hope you're rocking it, and until next time, Andre out. As the birds agree. The magpies, alright? Take care, guys. Until next time, Andre out.
The sun is gonna keep on shining right ahead on the horizon. My love for you always keep on rising. Everything's gonna be alright tonight. Oh yeah, my love for you is gonna keep on rising. The sun's gonna keep on shining, bright days and September, heading for the city lights. 975, we're sharing each other, mirrors and father. Scent of the lemon drips from your eyes. We are the people that rule the world, fostering in every boy and girl, all rejoicing in the world. Take me now, we can drive a little adventure, love in summer. Follow the sun tonight, reminiscing of the times of life. For each every other, the feeling stronger. Shock at 11, got lost in your eyes. Can't do why when I think you're gonna leave me, but I'm gonna try. Are you gonna leave me now? Can't you be believing now? Can't do why when I think you're gonna leave me, but I'm gonna try. Are you gonna leave me now? Can't you be believing now? Can you remember in human nights? It was to where we'd energize, lie in the sand and visualize like it's 75 again. We are the people that rule the world, fostering in every boy and girl, all rejoicing in the world. Take me now, we can drive. Can't do why when I think you're gonna leave me, but I'm gonna try. Are you gonna leave me now? Can't you be believing now? Can't do why when I think you're gonna leave me, but I'm gonna try. Are you gonna leave me now? Can't you be believing now? Know everything about you, know everything about me, know everything about us. I know everything about you, know everything about me, know everything about us. Can't do why when I think you're gonna leave me, but I'm gonna try. Are you gonna leave me now? Can't you be believing now? Can't do why when I think you're gonna leave me, but I'm gonna try. Are you gonna leave me now? Can't you be believing now?
John Lilly once put it this way: there are no limits at all to the human mind whatsoever, except those we impose on ourselves because of our beliefs. And those limits are also beliefs to be transcended. And that's a view that suggests that the possibilities of human transformation are virtually infinite, that we have no way of knowing the outer horizon of what it means to be human.
And really, to understand all this, everything, you have to go very, very deep into a study of history, consciousness, neurophysiology, everything. You have to be the supreme eclectic type of leaning, and you really have to be wanting to know who you are and what everything's about.
And the thing that you'll find when you go to sacred sites, if you're very humble about it, is that you are on a personal journey, and the sacred site will respond to you in a way that is appropriate only to you. The information is always what you are searching for. And it's the intent you give that energy that defines whether it is used for right action or not. And it is inside these sacred spaces that you will be reminded that you are a god, that you are a bright star.
So what you're trying to do is move through the course without ricocheting off walls or creating karma. You're trying to slide through things smoothly. How do you do that? It's called flowing. There's a technique that you can do that will allow you to touch some part of your inner being that has more knowledge than your conscious state does.